I would love to introduce you to one of our teachers from this year's Green Accelerator for Educator cohort. It has been an absolute pleasure to watch this project come to life. And without further ado, I will allow Pema to go ahead and take the floor and share his work with you.
Hi everyone, Kuzuzampala. My name is Pema Tshering. I'm from Bhutan and I am a teacher at the Royal Academy in Bhutan and I teach life science to our students. So when we got the opportunity with the Green Accelerator for Educators, so what we decided to work on is on the topic spiritual and cultural forces living in harmony with nature. So, how our spirituality and our cultural beliefs and traditions help us live in harmony with nature. And this was a climate action initiative from Bhutan. So, when we are talking about the project, spiritual and cultural forces living in harmony with nature, so we did 3 projects in total. So the first one was we conducted a webinar where link were shared with many of you in Bhutan. So the Royal Academy, we follow the Bhutan Baccalaureate. So in Bhutan, we have 23 other Bhutan Baccalaureate schools. So we were able to share the links where teachers and students across these 23 schools joined our webinar. So I have a link, hyperlinked everything. So if we click on this, then you get to see some glimpse of the webinar. So how our students took lead. We had a guest explaining about the spiritual and cultural forces as well. So you get to see more or learn more. So we would be happy to share this presentation with you all so that you can go through it and learn and understand the stories of Bhutan. Another project that we worked on is we created an ebook. So the ebook is titled Tales from Bhutan, Sacred Lands, Living Stories. So basically, during the winter break, students, they went to their communities, they did research, they collected stories, they interviewed monks, elderly peoples, the local custodians, and they collected different stories from their community across Bhutan. So the stories that they brought, we made into an ebook. So these are the stories that were bought by the students. The third project that we work on is we have created a learning resource video. So basically, it talks about how spiritual and cultural forces help us protect our nature and fight against climate change. So if you could look at it, so this video basically talks about our project. So if I show you a glimpse of it.
Kuzu Zampola. I am Lexa Dishunongbi from the 11th grade.
I am Jimmy Namgaltinde from the 8th grade.
Welcome to Bhutan, where nature is sacred, stories come alive, and every mountain has meaning. This is cultural and spiritual forces living in harmony with nature, a climate initiative from Bhutan in collaboration with the Green Accelerator for Educators.
Bhutan is renowned worldwide for its pristine forests, rich biodiversity, and deeply spiritual and culturally rich traditions. But have you ever wondered why Bhutan remains one of the few carbon negative countries on Earth? The answer lies not only in policies and laws, but also in spiritual and cultural values that guide the lives of its people in day to day life.
So that's the glimpse of our learning resource video. So the recording, the footages, the narrators, everything, the editing of the videos, everything were done by our students. So I, as a teacher, I was there to guide them, but the project that we presented, everything were worked upon by the students. So these 3 were the projects that we worked upon with our students. What led towards this idea? So why spiritual and cultural forces against climate change? So we heard from a friend about the Green Accelerator. Then we pitched the idea. The idea got selected, which allowed us to make our action idea into action. So why we chose this topic, or why we wanted to work upon spiritual and cultural forces living in harmony with nature, because in today's world, technology is advancing and we are forgetting our roots. So we wanted to reconnect young students, young minds with our spiritual and cultural values that have long protected the nature. So our goal is to preserve this indigenous wisdom and help students inspire in fighting against the climate change. So that's how we led into this project. What and how this idea. So again, like when we are talking about this project, how did we go ahead with this? So we have mentor-mentee system at the Royal Academy. So a teacher is a mentor, and with him or her, we have around 14 to 15 students. So this project, we worked within this mentor-mentor group. So students, they became researchers, storytellers, and cultural documentarians. So they went into their communities, they did research, they interviewed local peoples, and then they were able to engage with elders, monks, farmers, and collect local knowledges through videos, through photographs, through audios, and then through stories. And these stories we changed into the project outcome that I explained earlier, the webcast or the webinar, an ebook, and the learning resource video. And these learning resource video, with the help of Michelle here, we shared with the Green Accelerator project team members from other countries, as well as, like I mentioned earlier, so we shared with the Bhutan baccalaureate schools within Bhutan. And these projects help students recognize how our culture, our spirituality inspired sustainable living solutions. So that's how we work into this project. So how can you incorporate our project into your classroom? So when we say our project, so not only we want the teachers and students across Bhutan to incorporate this idea, but how can you take this into your classroom? So the beauty of this project is that it can be adapted anywhere in the world. We're not restricting to Bhutan. Bhutan doesn't only have stories from our communities. Every world have their own stories to tell. So we want through this project, we want you to incorporate valuable knowledge, traditions, and stories that are living with nature within your community, and then connect these local stories with science, geography, other subjects, and then cross-pollinate this idea we call interdisciplinary, and have students learn about their values and how these values can fight against climate change. So we wanted to make a plea, or we wanted you all to think about our project and look at how you can incorporate these ideas, how you can help your students collect stories from their communities and then learn how nature played an important role, and how, with the help of these stories, we can fight against climate change. To get started, so we want you all to start small. So when we are saying start small, as a teacher, try asking this question to your students. What is one tradition or belief that helped people care for nature when you were growing up? So they might have heard a story, they might have seen, they might have experienced, or they might have heard from their parents. So if we ask this question, we can start looking into these concepts. So each student, they can discover a unique gift. At the Royal Academy, we collect 7 gifts. So basically, it's a gift from the communities, not the object gifts, but gifts in the form of recipe, in the form of games, in the form of languages, in the form of stories, songs, dances. So students, they collect such gifts from the community and they bring it to the school. And through this, we develop our curriculum. So we take these stories into our curriculum, into our classes, into our learning experiences. And through this, we learn about the values, the truths that are rooted into our culture and spiritual. So through this, we learn about our culture and how we can fight against the climate change. So students can bring stories to the classroom for discussion and reflection. They can explore environmental values and wisdom within their communities. And these activity, when doing so, connections and learning where we can highlight our local values, our local stories, and relating it to climate wisdom. So through this, so we can start similar project within your school, within your community. So this brings us to the end. So what I wanted to make a conclusion here is, so when we are talking about the project that we were working on, the how spiritual and cultural values that are rooted into our values, the Buddhist values, so how we are relating these into and understanding how we are living in harmony with nature. And through this, we are talking about how we can fight against the climate change. So the last statement that we and I wanted to make here is climate action is not only about developing or advancing technologies or policies, but sometimes the most powerful solutions are found in the wisdom that has always existed within our communities. So technology is advancing, we're making different types of policies, but the local stories, our local values that existed way before technology came into our life, and we can use this wisdom to understand about the nature and how we as an individual, how we as a community, how we as the people of the earth, we can come together, use this wisdom, use our stories, use our values, and through these, how we can help fight against climate change. So by helping students rediscover such stories, such wisdom, such values, we are not only protecting nature, but we are also preserving our identity, our culture, and the hope for future generations. So we are not just teaching our students to understand the stories, to go through the community, doing research, doing interviews, hearing from them, but we want our students to rediscover, understand the stories, understand the values, and then by doing so, we are preserving our identity. So we say we are Bhutanese, we say we are a part of a community, but do we really know about our identity, our culture, our traditions? So through this project, we aimed to help, not only help the teachers and the students, but the audiences, other students and teachers who have seen our project. We wanted them to rediscover such wisdom, such stories, and we want them to understand their roots, where they are coming from, their identity, their culture, and their values, so that they can help preserve and promote their community, and as a whole, they fight against climate change for better future. So through these objectives, aims and objectives, so we started this project, and we wanted the audiences here, the teachers here, so we want you all to take something. I hope you learn something from our project and then take into the lives of your students. And similar to what we did by collecting stories, by collecting oral histories that were lost or that the students are not showing interest at, so we can rediscover this wisdom, we can rediscover this knowledge, and then we can bring into our classrooms, help students learn, help students realize who they are. And when doing so, so we can fight against climate change and we can improve. We can make our earth a better place. So with this brings us to the end of our presentation. So I hope you guys enjoyed our project, the works that our students did, and I hope you learn from this. Thank you. So this brings to the end of my presentation.